All right, and I'll pass it over to Shannon.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to International Week. As you can see, today is going to be the German culture and trivia presentation that I will be co-presenting with Mark, who's in the audience right now. To start off though, just wanted to let you guys know that the link that you use today for this presentation is going to be the same for every other presentation this week. So if you want to go, just use the same link. On Tuesday at 5 p.m., there's going to be a GeoGuessr game. Thursday at 3 p.m., there's going to be a language exchange. And then Friday at 1 p.m., there will be a Brazilian children's literature and folklore presentation. And I'm sure some of you already knew about this, but in order for students to have a chance to win a gift card, they need to be registered. So Bo will put a link in the chat. And if you guys want to register to have a chance to win, then click on it and go ahead and register for that. And I encourage you to go to all these presentations. They're going to be really fun. Next, we want to do a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the Clackamas Community College campuses reside on the traditional homelands of the Clackamas, Cascades, and Tumwater bands of Chinooks, as well as the Tualatin and Pudding River bands of Kalapuya and the Northern Malala people. They lived and prospered by maintaining strong cultural ties to the land and through wise management of resources. As signers of the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855, they were removed from their homelands to the Grand Ronde Indian Reservation, where they became members of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. Please join us in taking this opportunity to thank and honor the original caretakers of this land, their lives, and their descendants that live on as tribal members today, still carrying on the traditions and cultures of their ancestors. All right, so now I would like to do introductions. First off, my name is Shannon. I am an officer in the Multicultural Department. And I'm also a student here at CCC, just taking classes and going through college. Since there are quite a few people here and we don't have enough time, I would love for all of you guys to introduce yourself in chat, get to know each other, and you can say something about yourself and why you decided to come today, or like what piqued your interest in this. While you guys are introducing yourselves, I'm just going to go through the agenda and the plans real quick for today so y'all know what's going on. First, we're going to do introductions. And before Mark's presentation, I just want to let you guys know you can ask questions at any time. I really encourage it actually, so we can know like what's going on in your minds, or to like connect your own experiences to like what's being said about the culture and the language that we're going to be talking about. So next will be Mark's presentation. He'll tell us about experiences and just knowledge about German culture and language. And then after that, we're going to have interactive questions. And that's what we're going to encourage you guys to ask questions. And we might even ask you guys specific questions relating to the presentation. And then after that is going to be our Kahoot quiz. It's going to be like fairly short, but it's going to include information directly from Mark's presentation. So if you guys want to get as many points as you can to get that gift card, I would highly encourage you guys to focus on Mark's presentation. Along with information from the presentation, there will be questions just about like German history and stuff that you guys may or may not know. All right, Mark, you have the floor.
Greetings, everyone. As Shannon said, my name is Mark. I am Shannon's uncle, and my connection here, besides being her uncle, is long ago and far away, I was a college level instructor of German. So my presentation today is going to be both linguistic as well as cultural, and since the two are intertwined, you really can't completely separate them. I've spent a total, I'm German American. I was born first this side of the pond. My parents are both German. I grew up biculturally, bilingually. And I've lived in Germany for about 2.5 years total. It's been a long time ago, but most of what I have to say, it hasn't changed significantly. As all good presentations do, I'll start this one with a joke. I'm not going to say the joke is good, but the presentation will be good. This is, unfortunately, the punchline is a poor reflection on us as a culture. If you speak several languages, you are said to be, and I'll let you answer it in your head, you're said to be either multilingual or polyglot. If you speak 2 languages, you are said to be bilingual. If you speak 1 language, it's certain you are American. And unfortunately, this propensity that we don't put ourselves out into the world into other cultures has given us as a group the label of the ugly American. And I would encourage you to learn a foreign language or visit a foreign country to immerse yourself in the culture and language, just so you won't be that ugly American. Let me introduce a couple of things about linguistic problems that sometimes come up in cross-cultural exchanges. First thing I'm going to talk about is post-war Germany on a macro level, on a government-to-government level. Germany, of course, was completely in tatters after the war, and the U.S. government instituted the Marshall Plan, and this was to rebuild Germany's infrastructure and basically everything. But on a more personal basis, you may have heard of care packages. Now, nowadays, care packages is now in a common vernacular. That means if you're an out-of-state student, you might get a nice package from your family with favorite cookies or a gift card for something, whatever. If you have a friend or relative is serving overseas in these armed services, you might send them something like that. But there was actually, after World War II, an official care package, CARE, and that was originally the Cooperative for American Remittances to Europe. And that was the charity involved. And so the way that worked, with these official packages, you could make a donation of $10 or $15, and in your name, one of these packages would be sent, and they would contain non-perishable food items, toiletries, personal items, and such. There were also unofficial person-to-person packages sent over, and this is where I'm going to address linguistic problems. These non-official ones, that they were sent through regular postal service, and after arrival in Germany, the officials over there, the occupation authorities, couldn't figure out why a good number of them were being discarded unopened. And it turned out the problem was in the customs listing. And so after listing all of the contents of the package, the sender would write in large letters, gift. And you would think that would be a reasonable and prudent thing to do to expedite postal matters. But from the German point of view, that was a horrible thing to do, because the German word gift, spelled the same and pronounced the same, means poison. And so the Germans recipients some of them thought that the Americans were piling on after having destroyed the country, that they're trying to kill whoever was left by sending over packages containing poison. Now, I don't know if this story is apocryphal, but I have it on good authority from my mother, who was in Germany after the war, that's what happened, at least in her city from time to time. Any questions on that, or should I just go until I hear a chat question? Or Shannon, you have guidelines what you want me to do?
No, I was just thinking about, I learned that same thing in school about gift, and it's sad, but it's kind of the funniest thing, the German, any language, because I've learned not only German, but some other ones, and the same thing happens. There's like one word that sounds very similar to a very common and innocent word, and it just completely skews understanding.
I know another one in Spanish. General Motors couldn't figure out why their Chevy Nova in the late 60s and early 70s, which was a sporty little car, wouldn't
Mhm.
sell in Mexico and Central American countries. Well, Nova, besides being an exploding star, also means, of my Spanish, if I remember right, means it doesn't run, which isn't a very practical thing to describe a car.
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to go on to my next topic here, and this is a strictly linguistic one, and one we don't have to worry about in English anymore. German has two separate forms of address when you're talking to someone, a formal and an informal. And the only remnant we really have anymore is if in a formal setting you would address somebody as Mr. So-and-so or Ms. So-and-so, using the family name. But we've become a very informal society, and even in official settings, we often use first name. In Germany, there's a pretty strict hierarchy, although that is breaking down a bit. There's the Z form, which is the formal form, and so you would use Z with any government official. In fact, it's illegal to use the other form is the do form, Z and do. It's illegal to use the do form with a government official, including police officers, because it falls under insulting a government official, and you could theoretically be fined for doing so. So you would use Z for official transactions with government officials. You would do that with your professors. You would do that with people you don't know. In fact, even after years, you might even still use it with your neighbors if you aren't really super good friends with your neighbors. And as recently as 125 years ago, children would be expected to use the formal form of address with their parents. That is not the case anymore. Now, on the other hand, the do form is you would use that with your family. You would use that with children. You would use that with social equals. For example, you as college students, if you met someone from another college in Germany that you didn't know and you didn't know them personally, you could still be fine and address them with the do form. So my advice always in my language classes, if in doubt, use the Z form, over Z it rather than overdo it. If you over Z it, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to be embarrassed and be slightly corrected, or you have a very confused child who just had the Z form used with them. On the other hand, if you use the do form, like I said, the worst thing that could happen is you could be fined for insulting a government official. Any comments, questions on that?
That just made me laugh. Like, imagine referring to a child as like formal. That would be so funny.
And if you permit a digression here, language is constantly evolving as a culture, as a society. And in Germany, 100 years ago, right now, if I say to Shannon, if you come and visit me, I would ask you, what do you want to eat for breakfast? 100 years ago, it was an indirect address. I would ask Shannon, what does she want for breakfast? And I knew theoretically of the existence of this form of address, and that would be considered informal. I visited friends one time in Germany, and their grandmother was very old, and she addressed me in this indirect form of address that I didn't even know existed anymore. And that was kind of fun. It was accepted into the family. Plus, I got to experience this thing I knew only theoretically had existed, and it still did at that time. All right, moving on. These are general social, cultural things. Germany is well known for a bureaucracy, and that has good parts and bad parts. And I guess it's also a matter of personal taste and viewpoint. I personally don't like great bureaucracy, but in Germany, there is an office for everything, an official office for everything. And it seems like every official office also needs to have an official stamp on something you do. And then you need stamp A to get stamp B, but to get stamp B, you have to have stamp A first. For my taste, it's terrible. But on the other hand, it's also very efficient. When my father passed away here a number of years ago, it was easier for me to inform the German Social Security Administration of his passing so that his benefits would stop than it was to inform our Social Security Administration. On what I consider the positive side of this German bureaucracy is healthcare and education. Healthcare is universal. And so a question here is, what is bureaucracy? Is government activity, meaning our bureaucracy here, you need a driver's license. On the college level, you have to pay a fee to attend, and then you get your official identification. So those are things that are bureaucracy. Not laws, they're the ones who implement the laws. So, here, cost of education, cost of healthcare is constantly going up. In Germany, healthcare and education, I'm talking now higher education, are quite inexpensive. When I was there, basically it was free. You paid minimal for healthcare. I don't know what it is now, other than it's much less than what we pay now here for university education. For example, with healthcare, when I was there, would have been in the early 80s. I paid about $100 for the whole year for my healthcare, and that included everything. There were no co-pays after that, and included dental. Shannon, thank you. And education, again, at that time was basically free for those who qualified, academically qualified. And now there is, you pay some, but it's not anywhere near what we pay. So for me, I think those are two of the most important things for government. I'm on my soapbox here a little bit, is providing for education and for health. Germans are also known, again, this is a stereotype, but they are also known for their orderliness, and that follows from from bureaucratic traditions. There are pretty much guidelines for everything. If you live in an apartment building, how often you have to sweep the communal hallways or communal areas, how you are supposed to separate your recyclables, and then they have recycling inspectors come by. Again, a matter of taste. If you're out and about, there are strict delineations between a bicycle and pedestrian lane. If you're in a bike lane and you're a pedestrian, you're going to probably get run over and certainly yelled at. If you're the other way around, you will probably get pummeled from those who are the pedestrians. Escalators are something similar. If you're in a department store, there is actually a little saying, rechts stehen on the right, stand, links gehen on the left, go. So if you're in a hurry, you go up the left side of the escalator. If you're taking it easy, you stand on the right side of the escalator. And believe me, if you violate any of these little things, they will tell you. Same thing standing in line. If you jump the line, somebody's going to really let you know. I think also trickling down from traditional bureaucracy and orderliness is expectations for punctuality. Germans in general expect you to be punctual. If you say you're going to be there at 2 o'clock, yeah, you better not be more than a few minutes late unless you let the host know or where you're going to. Trains, if a German intercity train leaves the station a minute late, it's almost perceived as a tear in the social fabric and just shouldn't happen. But on the other hand, the university tradition, this is longstanding. There is broken down into two classes, meaning, let me explain that. For example, let's say this was a lecture instead of an online presentation. It would be deemed to have taken place at 1300 hours ST, and that means, that's a Latin term, sine tempore, without time, so without extra time. If this had been a German lecture, it probably would have been listed as 1,300 hours CT, cum tempore, with time. So in Germany, in the German university system, you need to look at the class schedule to see whether your class is ST or CT. So this presentation today was 1,300 ST, more or less. Germans also prefer, when you're talking with someone, to be direct. If you have something to say, don't beat around the bush, just tell me. If you think I'm a jerk, tell me I'm a jerk. If you think I'm doing something stupid, just tell me I'm doing something stupid. Don't try and hint at it, just let me know. And we'll deal with it from there. Again, this is stereotype, but I think in general true. I think younger people in Germany are mellowing out a little bit from what I have gathered. Let's say you're now, next topic, if you're out or about in a restaurant, it's very common and very acceptable to share a table, but you ask first of the person, the people sitting there, you ask, is this seat still available? In German, of course. And in most cases, unless they're reserving that for friends, they would be very happy to share the table. That doesn't mean they're going to want to share their conversation with you, but they'll at least share the table so you don't have to wait. If you're a younger person, Germany is very advantageous because you can legally purchase and drink beer and wine starting at 16. You have to wait till you're 18 for hard liquor, but nobody bats an eye if you go into a pub in Germany at 16 or 17. If you're in a restaurant or pub, you'll also get a really strange look, at least if you ask for tap water. Here, you go to a table and you expect to have water in glasses sitting on the table. First of all, ice cubes are virtually unknown, except in, like McDonald's or something like that. But I think that originally, not prohibition, but the discouragement of tap water probably was after the war again, where the infrastructure was destroyed and reliably good tap water was not to be found. And now they just want your money for the bottled mineral water. The other thing you don't do in a restaurant, every restaurant or pub almost invariably will have a corner table that has a sign in the middle of it saying Stammtisch. I mean, it's the regulars table. And if you're not one of these regulars, you do not sit at this table unless invited by one of the Stamm people, one of the members of that group. That's a big no-no, especially in a pub. Getting down into my list here, just a couple of interesting oddball things. Many of our Christmas and Easter traditions, from Christmas tree to Easter bunny to our favorite carols, originated in Germany or Austria. I'm not going to go into any specific things. Of course, Silent Night is probably the most common or well-known one of those. But to Easter bunny and Christmas tree, thank German culture for those. Since we're on celebrations, celebrating your birthday early is considered really, really bad luck. So, for example, if my birthday were coming up next Friday, but all my friends were available this weekend, yeah, we would say, all right, well, let's get together at my place at Sunday afternoon. And in Germany, you wouldn't do that. That would just be considered really bad form and bad luck, and you're sure to ruin your next year. And if you're visiting somebody, most people, you have to kind of look and see how they do things, but most people prefer you leave your shoes at the door. But don't go in their house with bare feet either. That's bad form as well. And finally, final thing on my list is be aware of regionalisms. In Germany, there are many distinct dialects, although that's starting to flatten out a bit, and distinct regions where they do things differently. Many Americans have the German stereotype of the men wearing lederhosen and carrying big mugs of beer. Well, you'd be pretty close only in Bavaria. Anywhere else in Germany, they would have their own local dress that probably isn't lederhosen, and they have smaller beer too. That's why I like Bavaria. And they also have local beers, they have local bread, they have local customs. So when you're traveling, don't ever badmouth where you were or where you're going, because you don't know. Should you carry socks if you're wearing sandals? That's what I would suggest. If you wear sandals and they want you to take them, have your socks handy. And sometimes they even provide house shoe, just special a rack of house shoes at the door that whoever is there is welcome to use. So that is all I have on mine. I mean, that's not an exhaustive listing of things, and just this is an introduction. And so I hope you have some questions, and I do my best to answer them.
Before we get into the ones from the audience, I do want to, just as like a final thing about you, how much time have you spent in Germany, and how did that time change you?
All right, first I'll just kind of go chronologically. I spent one summer. I won't divulge my age by telling you how long ago it was, but it was a significantly long time ago. I spent one summer there as a student of German with a program here from Oregon called German Summer Study Abroad. And so we were taught fully in German in 3 different locations in Germany and Austria. And that was, for me, second year German. And then the next time I was over there was 2 years later, 2 or 3 years later, it was a full year exchange. There was, and I presume still exists, an exchange program between the state of Oregon and the German Land, that's their version of the state, Baden-Württemberg, southwestern Germany. And that was I studied in the city of Tübingen, which is about an hour south of Stuttgart. And then I got my undergraduate degree and went on for a graduate degree in German at the University of British Columbia. And they have a scholarship available for your study from the German government. And I was fortunate enough to have won that scholarship and paid for another year in Germany, again in Tübingen. And then, then I have my master's, and then I ended up being an instructor in that summer program for 2 different summers. So the total time was about 2.5 years. And how it changed me in actually many different ways. As I mentioned earlier, I was raised culturally and bilingually, and the bilingualism certainly helped in learning German. I had the vocabulary and the pronunciation. I had to learn grammar with everyone else, but managed to do that all right. But what I really didn't understand till I got over there was how German I still was. And it was an eye-opener for me. And after the first year, on the way back from Germany, landing in Seattle, I literally cried because I didn't want to come back yet. And so I was fortunate enough to have gone over there for another year. And so, and now, my outlook is a lot more global than it was before I went over there. We are very parochial here in general as Americans. We are part of the world. We are not isolated. And that just brought that home to me.
All right, so now you guys can definitely ask any questions you want, but something that we wanted to ask you guys is, if you're comfortable, you can either put it in the chat or you can say it out loud. Any personal experiences that you guys have had about experiencing other cultures, being a part of another culture, just anything like that that you guys would like to share.
I might add, even while we're waiting for people to chime in, even British Columbia, it's just one state and a border between us. That's a completely different culture than what we're used to. It's very European. It's almost half English. They have their spellings and many of their usages are British English. And so I came back after 2 years up there. Are there any American communities, other culture communities, I presume you mean in Germany, primarily on a military basis? And it varies completely whether if they choose to be, they can completely isolate themselves, and all they are is basically in another American town. but I have also come across other American service people who, since they're over there, they said, I want to, hold on to that, and I'll come back to that one. I want to, I want to be involved in the culture, and they learn the language and they immerse themselves in the culture. So it happens both ways. Can you text? Can you chat that one again?
I can read it. I'll read it for you. So Mary Jean says, my cousins in Germany told me they are taught in school to have shame regarding their history of the Holocaust. Do you have any insight about this?
I can answer that only indirectly. I would agree in general with that statement. Shame in the sense of not ignoring it, shame in the sense of owning up that our government at the time, the German government at the time, did a horrific thing that is almost unimaginable. So it's not avoided. It's an unpleasant topic, and but it's not avoided. It's addressed, and there are laws, for example, that Nazi era symbols are completely prohibited, except in the context of a museum display or something similar. So in that area, it's very much discouraged. I would also advise caution, though, and just in general, in speaking with people you don't know about it, you have to make sure that it's okay to bring up the topic. Hope that answered the question. Jen, you want to read the next one back to me?
Yeah, also, I want to add like a little bit to the previous one, like definitely what Mark said, but also like the people now, obviously, they shouldn't be ashamed because they didn't do it, their ancestors did, but they should
Absolutely.
remember and learn from it for sure.
Yep.
And then the next one was, are there any World War II memorials in Germany?
I can't really answer the question. I'm sure there are, but but not in the sense we have here. The victors are the ones who get to erect the memorials, and that's what we usually think of a memorial. There are memorials of warning, is what I would call them. Look what happens if you wage war. There is a remnant of a church in the middle of downtown Berlin, the Kaiser Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche, and it's the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. And rather than, it was completely destroyed other than the main tower in the war from the bombing. But rather than tear it down, they left it and built a beautiful, very touching, just emotionally powerful stained glass display inside. Warning, all right, this is what happens if you wage war. So yeah, there are, but not in the sense of we are the champions.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Daytime tradition, 5 o'clock in England. That's not tea time anymore, is it? I thought tea time was 4. Yeah, you have afternoon Kaffeestunde. That's very common mid-afternoon to have afternoon coffee hour. In some of the, it used to be, and this is going away pretty much because of commercialism. In smaller towns, especially, stores would close for a couple hours in early afternoons, almost siesta type of a thing. I don't see that much anymore. It also used to be when I was there as a student, if I needed groceries for the weekend, I needed to get them by Saturday morning by noon on Saturday, because after that, all the stores closed till Monday morning. So unless I wanted to go eat in a restaurant, I had to have my food and whatever else, that shopping done by noon on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. So someone put in chat about their experience in getting to know the deaf culture and learning ESL. Kara, would you feel comfortable talking about that, or? Do you just want to keep it in chat?
Yeah, I was just trying to bring back to your question.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to say that earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt anyone in their questions. So I just wanted to put it out there that I'm glad we're doing this, and I'm glad that we can learn more about different cultures and everything. Yeah, it's really awesome to be able to expand my horizons, like I said, and be able to learn more.
For sure.
I saw that one, Shannon. The question was, where in Germany were my parents from? My father was from Silesia, which is the southwestern part of what was then still Germany, now is Poland. And my mother is from the German city of Hanover, so north central Germany, and they consider themselves, rightly or not, to speak the best standard High German there in Hanover. And so I pretty much have to attribute that to my mother.
All right, so I'd love to do more questions and hearing more from you guys, but unfortunately we are running a little bit out of time, so we gotta get to our little trivia game.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming and presenting with me, Mark.
I was happy to do it. It was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I have not done a Kahoot before, so I will host it and see what happens, and then share my screen. All right. Oh my gosh, okay. Is it working for you guys?
Looks like it.
All right, I'll wait a few moments for you guys to join in, and then I'll see if anyone else needs to join in. Oh, and for those that don't know how to get into the Kahoot, you just go on an online web browser on your phone or computer, look up Kahoot it, and then you can put in the game pin at the top of the screen.
Are we supposed to answer questions?
No, so everyone's gonna come in to this part. They're gonna get their names and the game pin, and then once everyone's ready, then I'll start the quiz, and then the questions will show up. Yeah.
We need to go on that website.
Yeah, it's called Kahoot.
Okay.
Also, I cannot see the chat, so Kara or Bo, if there's any questions going on, I can't see it.
I think someone has their hand up.
Do we need to sign in there to Kahoot? How does it work?
So if you go to kahoot.it, that website, then you just put in the game pin that's at the top.
Kahoot IT. It says online school games, free girl photo. Ah, Kahoot. Kahoot.it. Ah, game pin.
Yeah, so the game pin is 2256032.
Interesting.
And then it should just ask you for a name, and then you'll be in.
And Willie, it says that your hand is up. Do you have a question?
Sometimes
right.
people do the hand up when they meant to applause. So that's probably what he was doing.
Oh, okay. All right, 2, 4, 6. We got 7 people. Does anyone else want to join?
That should be it, everybody.
Okay, I will start the game now.
How do we answer?
You just click on the answer you think it is. Just tap on it.
I cannot.
So on your phone, there should be 4 colored squares.
Well, my time is up, but I just opened the site. I know the answer. The ninth.
So the question ran out of time, so it automatically stopped. But the next question, when you see on your phone, there'll be 4 different colors, and they'll coordinate to what you see on the screen on here,
Okay.
and you choose which option you think is the right one.
Okay.
Uh-oh, someone got bumped out too.
Yeah, it's kind of its first experience, and I just was late trying to figure out what to do.
Shannon, can you maybe just restart it
Yeah, I'll end the game.
and then everyone gets a
And
free
then
pass on the first one?
wow, look at this. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. We're gonna redo stuff. All right, host, play, host.
Sorry.
Oh, it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
It was a good experience.
All right, here we go.
Okay, new pin this time.
Okay. Oh, no. 5, 9, 5.
All right, is that all?
I mean.
Yep, looks like it.
All right, we're gonna start. Let's go. Same question.
I'm gonna laugh if I get this wrong.
It's processing the answer, right?
Yeah, once you tap it, you just wait until everyone's done, and then it'll move on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Roma,
All right.
close the door for me. Close the door, please.
Added the joke in there. Let's go.
Yeah, that's great. I really liked that joke.
No, it gets me every time. And I've heard it.
Technically monolingual would have been correctly, but not in the context of today.
Yeah. All right. This one. Hey, wow. How many people knew that one? That's awesome.
Yes, I did not know that at all. That's so interesting.
In fact, he composed some of his greatest works after he was completely deaf.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. This one is definitely a no-brainer.
I feel like that's the only thing I know. That one.
All right. Come. Hey. Wow, that's good. That history class going.
All right, I want to see how many people get this one.
The answers are, people answering is so slow. Coco, you have 3 seconds. Oh, that's pretty good. Wow.
That was a complete guess as well.
Yeah. Good. Oh my goodness, you guys are paying attention.
That makes me feel good.
Job.
And that would be the case in a restaurant or pub type setting. At home, most people, I think, still use tap water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, there's a slight clarification on that one though. He didn't invent the printing press, he invented movable type.
That is, you got my back. Yeah, I just researched basics. I'm constantly worrying I'll get the dates wrong too. But Johannes Gutenberg. You all should know this one.
I think I'll just pretend
I know
can't
which
speak
one
German.
most Americans choose.
I love all the extra options. Like just leave.
I spent a lot of creative time with those ones for sure.
But it's part of the fun of making the quiz, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at the picture, hoping it's in the picture.
Yeah, that one's a bit more of a guess.
Of course, the German and the signing of that treaty indirectly led to the situation that led up to World War II.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Yes. All right, 2 more, I think. 2 or 3 more.
I don't even know what quantum physics is. This is just a complete guess.
Yeah. Well, one of you got the green one. That's good.
So Bo put in chat saying, I have to run to a class. Thank you, Mark and Shannon. This was very educational and fun. I'll have to sign up for a
Awesome.
language class now.
Bye.
Aw, bye. Mark, I told my dad this one. He's like, not surprised.
Hope everybody got the answer.
Ooh.
Everyone got the answer right, for better or worse.
No one got it. Wow. Yeah, 27%. All right, last question.
I know which one I would pick personally, but
Don't you dare. Good job, everyone. You got that one. All right, here we go. Shalia, good job. All right. Who is MMB?
That's me.
Wow.
Who knew?
Oh, good job with that. So it is supposed to go to a student. So the gift card.
You know, the next person, yeah,
Yeah,
whoever.
so Shalia, I think you would get the gift card.
Good job.
Very good job, Michelle. That was really good. So you'll give us your email, Shalia, and then we'll send it over to Michelle, and right, Michelle, and you'll get her the gift card.
Yeah, just send me the info for like where and how much and who it goes to.
Okay, I'll discuss with Bo, and I will copy Shalia's email, and then we'll figure that out for you, Shalia. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming.
Sorry to steal that away from you, Michelle.
Oh no, I was just playing for fun.
But yeah, thanks everyone for coming. This is the end of the presentation. Thanks for coming and participating. It was lots of fun, and I really enjoyed it with you guys.
Thank you guys. I'll see you guys later.